Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Shag with Ray. I'm with my good friend Paul Brown. We are in your home Tiki bar in Burien, Washington, which is southwest of Seattle?
Yeah, southwest a little bit.
And what is the name of your home Tiki?
The Riviera Room.
The Riviera Room. Why is it called the Riviera Room?
So
The Riviera. The Riviera Room.
The Riviera Room.
Yeah.
It kind of, the name came from a car I used to have. I used to have a 65 Buick Riviera. And so I don't have it anymore. I sold it and got a Thunderbird. But at the time when I named my bar, I thought it was kind of a cool sounding name. So that's how it came from. And it just sort of stuck and I kept it.
Yeah, that's a better name than like my first car. My first car was a Pinto, you know. It's like, imagine if I called my Tiki bar the Pinto.
My first car was actually a Mustang, which was pretty cool. But the Mustang,
The
Mustang room kind of sounds like it might be like
a cowboy room,
or like maybe one of those places in Nevada.
Paul is the inspiration for this series because you have a lot of shag, everything, a lot of shag prints, a lot of shag mugs, a lot of shag prints. Like you had a record player and just, I mean, everything.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about some of your prints that you have.
Okay.
So let's talk about this one.
Sure.
What is the story? Is for Jetsetter.
Yeah. So this I thought would be fun to start with because this is, I believe, the very first shag anything that I ever bought.
Really?
Yeah. So I lived in LA. Obviously, this was a show from the beginning of 2000.
Yeah.
It was at the La Luz de Jesus Gallery, which is an amazing gallery in Los Angeles. And I had went to the show after, the show had been up and everything was sold out, and I figured that out. But, they did a print, for the show. And it was funny. I remember I actually thought a little bit a few times, like, geez, do I want to buy this? It was $35.
35.
Yes, 35. And I remember I was like, geez, do I want? Because in my mind, I don't think I really even knew what a print yet or a serigraph or anything was yet. So to me, it was like, oh, do I want to pay $35 for a poster?
It's not even really a painting. It's
So
is that how much this was?
It was
$35.
Yeah, in 2000. So I bought it. It's number 30 out of 350, which is actually a pretty big edition for him. Usually he doesn't do editions that large.
So in 2000, how big is shag at this point?
You know what?
Or is he big at all? Or
no,
is he just...
he I would say 2000 is like sort of the very beginning of when he's really, really starting to kind of skyrocket, I would say, really outside of, say, Southern California.
Okay.
So yeah, he was starting to get very popular, but he still had a little ways to go to where he ended up. So what I kind of like love about this is one thing that people learn about shag is there's a story.
There's always a story.
There's always a story. There's a lot of sort of whimsy. I think there's a lot of tongue in cheek. You know, so you've got, Death, holding the sickle with a sign that says you as you're arriving from the airport. But, it's a sort of be this kind guy who thinks he's kind of sophisticated.
Yeah.
He's a jet setter. He's got his, his fancy, vermouth or whatever that is with his Tiki necklace. So he's very hip and, and I just love the color. So actually, ever since I got it, it's kind of been a centerpiece for me because it just reminds me of like when I very first discovered shag. And it's interesting, at this point he still did all the numbering himself and he signed it. And it's interesting to notice like how even big his signature is, and over the years it became a little more stylized and a little bit smaller, definitely a little more defined, especially the S. Now, if you look at his S, it's very, very stylized and very, very unique.
Well, what I love about this is this has all the elements of a shag painting. Like he has, like he's wearing a tiki necklace. Yep. There's always some kind of bottle liquor. I've seen death in a lot of his different things.
Yeah.
There's the story, and I'm kind of guessing that he's probably not Evans and he's probably not Cohen. But he's probably wishing that he was one of those other guys.
Yeah.
So was this literally kind of like an advertisement flyer for it? Is that really what it is?
You know what? I believe
Paintings by Shag.
Yeah, I think it was. I actually didn't see the show like the opening night. Yeah. I went to the it's a bookstore and it has an art gallery in the back.
Yes.
So I had went, I would like look through the books and everything that they had, and then I walked through the gallery, and then that's when I saw it. So I believe, this was the painting for the show, and so it just really kind of caught my eye. But it's just funny that I think like I went back a few times before. I'm like, okay, I can shell out $35 to get this piece of art. And it's funny. I
want to let you know I'll give you $40.
Well, that would be a pretty good profit. I think
you made $5.
I think I remember because it was a pretty high edition. They obviously had a fair amount, and I think I remember going back, and this was probably years later, and they still actually had a few for sale. Yeah. And I think at that point they were $450. So after
isn't it so weird? Like when you see like 2000. It's 20 years ago.
I know. It's crazy to think about, and that's one of the things I love is that I kind of stumbled upon Shag at the very beginning, of his career, and saw sort of the whole trajectory of him going from what I would say, a well-known kind of Southern California artist to an internationally known, very famous artist that does work for major studios, for Disneyland, Disney World, stuff that has his signature on it, or that he designs.
It's completely unique. It's completely original.
Yeah.
And I tell you what a way to start your collection.
Yeah. No, it was. And if you ever, for anybody that's watching, if they ever are in Palm Springs, there's a dedicated Shag store it's kind of like a gallery store in Palm Springs, and I highly suggest checking it out. When you walk in, it's just, it almost kind of stops you in your track. Just sort of the visual that you get of seeing so many of his prints framed, on the wall, all of his merchandise, from shirts to mugs to glasses to books, some skateboards, pillows, stuff like this, and it's I always love going in there when I visit Palm Springs.
I tell you what, this is an amazing artifact. So let's see what else you're going to bring us.
All right.
So obviously this isn't where Paul keeps his Shag prints on the couch. Where is this normally hanging up?
Well, because of the size, I actually usually have this. We have like one large wall downstairs, and it's sort of the centerpiece on that wall. Yeah. Because it is, and this is still one of his earlier works, but he pretty quickly started making prints, much larger in size, and now he makes prints now that even like dwarf this, that are. I don't know the exact dimensions, but I would say he probably does some prints occasionally. There might be even 2 or 3 times this size. So, is this the same guy from the other one? He's definitely similar, and in a lot of Shag prints, there's always a lot of the characters that seem like there's some similarities, and I sometimes wonder too if it's like Shag's alter ego, with a little bit like darker hair. Yeah. And he's painting a little bit of himself in the picture.
Well, this almost seems like it's related to the other print, because you have the airplane. Yeah. This is called the Sky Lounge.
Yeah. So this is.
So what can you tell me about this one?
Well, so this one, and I'm not 100% sure what show that this one came from. I don't believe it was the same show, but this is one of his, I think, most collectible and probably well-liked prints. I believe it was from the similar time frame, maybe around from 2001. But it does have kind of a similar theme of, this ideal of, jet setting, a sky lounge at an airport where you go and you
get fancy chairs. That is not how the Sky Lounge we go now.
Yeah. And
and every Sky Lounge has a bowl in there, drinking.
Well, it's interesting. If you see a lot of Shag's earlier prints, there's a lot of like a minotaur or a bull or something that's very representative in his mind of telling the story of what whether it's the virile bull or whatnot. But you can kind of just picture yourself in this setting of having a cocktail before I think, okay, well they're getting on a flight to either go to London or Paris, somewhere foreign and exotic, but doing it very much in style, And one of the things that I think is also very interesting about, from this time period of Shag is, this one is pretty rare because he actually even wrote the name of the print himself. Yeah, the Sky Lounge. Not too long after, I think, and even the last one, the name in the gallery was printed, and he would number and sign it. But this has all of it, which is a lot rarer from his earlier works.
It's 46 out of 200.
Yeah.
And again, what I love about Shag is the world building that he has.
Yeah.
It's like I see this world here, this scenario, and I want to be in there.
Yeah.
I want to be there. I want to be that bull, or I want to be sitting by the bull, chilling out in this Sky Lounge.
Yeah.
This is obviously early 60s, I'm guessing, right?
It reminds me of, especially with, the stewardess or the lounge ladies, kind of the, the very famous Pan Am.
Yes.
The stewardesses, or from that movie Catch Me If You Can.
I love that movie.
Yeah, where they have those great, outfits, and just kind of really harkens to that, that time period and what was going on then in travel.
Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't around in the 60s, and so I couldn't really experience that. I was a product of the 70s. So it's like everything is like all browns and everything like this. This is a beautiful print.
Yeah.
This is really, really beautiful. And looks like his flight's at 102.
And Shag does so many amazing colors in his prints, but this sort of lighter blue is one of my favorites. It was in the print we just viewed, but his use of color and and just kind of these little hits and how much it pops when you put a little yellow in there. And if you go to his gallery in Palm Springs, one thing they do that is amazing is they can take the same print and just with a different color of the matting, because they'll take the same print and they'll mat it with like a light blue, or this one's a purple, and how much it can just sort of pull different stuff out of the print. They do an amazing job. Their framing there, it's really, really amazing, and really, really highlights his work very well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul, take us somewhere different.
Okay.
All right, let's see what's next. Hey gang, we'll get back to the Tiki conversation here in just a second, but I want to let y'all know they have t-shirts for sale. They are screen printed in America. The artist is Tony Canepa, and they're going for $20 a piece, $25 including shipping. If you're interested in buying one, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and then there's a tab that says buy a t-shirt. Click on there and just follow the prompts. So thank you very much. Well, we moved from the Sky Lounge into someone's lounge or the rec room.
Yeah. And
right off the bat, I'll tell you what, my favorite color is green. And this shade of green, to be particular. So I'm already sold on this. And I think this is a different guy.
Yeah.
Unless he has his glasses off. But what is the story with this?
So this is one of the funnest pieces that Shag ever kind of came up with. Not sure who came up with the idea.
Yeah.
So, when you look at it from the front, it looks like a very cool framed print, a fun scene of a couple relaxing in their sort of mid-century living room. Even the kitty has a cocktail.
And I love that the painting on the wall is cocktails.
Yeah. And he's preparing it looks like a martini.
Yeah.
They got their starburst lamp, so it's very, very cool. But there's a little bit more than meets the eye here.
Cool.
So this is actually a cocktail cabinet.
It is.
So you pull this down.
Are you serious?
And so how it's designed ultimately is you could make a sort of a recessed area in the wall So this could be flush, and then this would just look like a picture on the wall, would fold down. Place to put some of your alcohol.
Oh my God!
Your glasses. Comes with a great, certificate, and it's numbered. This is number 58 out of 250. It's signed
2004.
2004. Yeah. So what's neat too is I actually kept this card that I got in the mail.
Yeah.
Advertising the show. So this was when I lived in Long Beach, California, and this it came out at a fantastic vintage store called the Starlight Room.
Okay.
There's a very famous area in Long Beach on 4th Street that has a lot of vintage and antique shops. So it came out there, so I got this ahead of time. So I went to the opening night, and of course Shag was there, and there was like a line, down the block. I was probably, I guess I got number 58, so maybe I was around number 60 in line that night to get one.
So they had these for sale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they came out at the show, and it was just, a fantastic, fun event, a great kind of vintage, styled crowd that came out. But it's just fun, and I've had it on my wall, but I haven't found a place yet where I can recess it, because I think that's when it really would be fun. You have some friends over, and then you just, looks like you're pulling the painting down off the wall to mix up a cocktail.
That is so cool.
It is.
It's so awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
And again, it's beautiful. Like, I love. It's a beautiful print, or a painting, or whatever you want to say. And again, I want to be in that world.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be hanging out with that cat, drinking a martini.
Yeah, it's Saturday night. They're gonna have some drinks and have some fun. I don't remember for sure, but I want to say that I think it was $200. It was 2004. So, that last print I showed, the big one, was only $150.
Yeah. New,
and I think now if you were able to find one on eBay, it would be $1,700, to get one. And I don't see these come up very much. Every once in a while, I see.
I have a feeling if you bought one of these, you're holding on to it.
Yeah.
Because or you have it in your wall already.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Take it out and just have a giant hole there? So now we have moved into the Tiki bar.
Yeah. Full
on Tiki bar with Shriners, I guess.
Yeah.
And a monkey.
And
serving booze.
Yeah.
But the thing that I love right off the bat is the tikis themselves.
Yeah.
And I love how they border the painting. God, look at there's like a puckerfish, moai lamps.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, this is awesome. What's the name of this one, Paul?
So this one is called Mr. X's Valet.
Mr. X's Valet.
So this must be the valet, the little monkey. We talk about, there's a lot of times there's certain animals in there. I mean, what could be cooler than a monkey with a fez bringing a bottle of, I assume that's a great bottle of rum. So this print is actually from the show where I got my original, which we talked about on another episode, called Night of the Tiki.
Yeah.
And if you see every painting sort of laid out end to end, a lot of the paintings, like this one, will carry over into the next painting. So this tiki might be in the next painting.
Really?
Yeah, not every single one, but several of them. There's sort of like a little bit of a continuation of some of the features in there. But why I kind of wanted to talk about this one is the other prints that we talked about or looked at had more of a kind of the blues and the green spectrum, but Shag uses a wide, range of amazingly bright colors, and I love just kind of how bright and vibrant this one is with the oranges. But there's a good story going on here too. Not only you've got the monkey bringing the rum, you've got the fancy lady in her evening gown, some Shriners. Something's going on here where he's looking at this coin that somebody gave him, like not sure what that's supposed to represent.
Yeah,
there's something going on there, but
So who's Mr. X?
See, I don't think Mr. X. He's a mysterious person that I don't think is in the That's how I interpret it.
Okay.
You know, that's a hallmark of Shag. He has a theme and a story behind every painting, but he won't tell you what it is. He wants you to come up with your own. So it's, you know, it's that that mysterious person that's in the back, you know, and you don't get to actually see him in the painting. Is sort of my interpretation.
See, that would be something. Imagine if someone could design a tiki bar, but it's Shag designed. Like the tikis would be his style. Oh my God.
There would be a long line out the door.
Yeah, there would be.
And it should be in Palm Springs. Or LA, but Palm Springs would be my first choice, I think.
Again, what are we thinking, like early 60s here, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what. I've come to the conclusion that the Shag paintings, these are time machines.
Yeah.
These are really time machines that take you to not only to a different point in time, but also to like a different reality almost, where monkeys are serving you booze and bulls are chilling out in sky lounges. And that's waiting for you with the sign that says you.
Yes.